I was recently traveling between Vancouver and Victoria on the BC ferry, and I did the unthinkable. What did I do? I talked to someone else. That's right. I wasn't on this, but instead sat down next to a couple, my wife and I did, and we started chatting. And I learned a lot about them. They were a retired couple from Mexico. They had 4 children, they had grandchildren. They told me about their travels. And during that period, it was very interesting. Right beside me, when we first sat down, there was 2 young guys. I'd say they're probably in their mid-20s, both sitting there on their phones across from each other, eating their sandwich and glued like this. That was it. No conversation, no dialogue. That was it. Maybe a little bit of grunting here and there, because after all, they were men. And as our conversation continued, they left. And then beside us, there was 2 Asian couples that sat down, 2 dads initially, and they both had babies. And when I looked over, the dad that had the baby, maybe the baby was 8, 9, 10 months old, and the baby was grasping for one of these. That's right, at 10 months old, this kid knew to grab this. How so? Well, kids mirror and mimic what their parents do. Monkey see, monkey do. That's how they learn. So I guarantee you that they saw mom and dad like this, and let's face it, who hasn't seen that? How many of us haven't gone to sporting events, restaurants, anywhere publicly, and we see parents glued to their screens? And it breaks my heart, especially when I see parents with very small children or young babies, because this is what they're teaching them. This is their babysitter. That's why they go to this thing, because the parent doesn't want to deal with the child. They're tired, they're frustrated. I know. I got 2 grown adults now, and when they were young and little, I'm so blessed, my wife and I, that we did not have cell phones when our kids were born. We didn't raise them on these. We actually did the unthinkable. We talked. We went on car rides. We discussed things. We read books with them. We walked. We shared. We had discussions, robust. And when they saw us out with them and we went to functions, we were talking to other people. And because of that, they both have good social skills. They can relate to other human beings. They don't have to be glued to their screens. Now, don't get me wrong. They love these things just as much. They're addicted to them. I would say they're not as addicted as some, but they definitely like that thing. But they still have the ability to converse. They have the ability to have dialogue. And that is something that is invaluable. So why did kids gravitate to this? Why do young children do it? Because first they see their parents doing it. Parents use it as a tool to pacify their children. But what you young parents are not realizing, this is the worst babysitter you could give your children. This babysitter is only going to do one thing: give them validation. It'll give them, endorphin hits when they're playing games, doing this, doing that. That babysitter is not going to correct behavior, speak about any kind of morality or virtue. And if it does, I guarantee you, more than likely, it won't be the one you ascribe to. That is what you're doing. You're setting your kids up. None of us, when we have young children or babies, would give them to the heroin dealer. And if you would, then you shouldn't be a parent. But we wouldn't do that. We'd say, no, why? That's insanity. That will destroy my kids. That is what this culture has done. That is what these little mobile devices have done, folks. Whether it be a tablet or a screen or whatever, engage your children. Talk to them. Have discussions with them. That's what being a parent's about. This is part of, I think, the phenomenon why we're seeing so much of this trans insanity and everything else, because young, impressionable minds are looking for leadership and direction. And when they're getting it from this, there is predominantly garbage on this. I can tell you that because, let's face it, we know who controls a lot of the social media platforms. We know the push, the agenda. And these devices are designed to control and enslave people. Hey, don't believe me? Take Steve Jobs' word. Now, he died a long time ago. He was famously quoted as saying he would never give his children one of those phones. There's a reason for that, folks. So do the unthinkable. When you're out and about, when you're with your kids, engage in conversation. You'll be amazed at the outcome of it. If you want your kids to be prepared for going forward in life, one of the most valuable assets is to be able to discuss. That's one of the things we're seeing in culture today. Nobody has the ability to take criticism. Kids are fragile snowflakes. Why? Because they've been raised on this device that validates everything they believe. This does not allow people to have discussions. I recently listened to a podcast about the struggles people are having with dating. Most people now will use dating apps. They don't even know how to do it the old-fashioned way, asking another human being out in person. This is because of these devices. So, parents, you have the most important job in the world. You're raising the next generation. So please get off your effing phones, spend time with your kids. That's it. That's all I got to say. Anyway, I thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Please post any comments you have in the comment section. You can always follow me in my Rumble on my Locals account. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. You'll also can find me on Twitter now at camera612. Check out some of my other videos, and I look forward to seeing you next time.